Hello, it's Ren from Taurus Rising back with you again for our weekly wellness check-in with tarot. And today I was feeling inspired to do something a little bit different. I've been thinking about the Fool's Journey from tarot. If you don't know anything about that, the Fool's Journey is sort of this idea of where the Fool card, um, goes through this journey, sort of like a hero's journey, where the Fool goes along, meeting their guides. I'm saying they just to keep it not universal versus putting one gender on it. Um, Historically, the Fool is often captured as a male figure, but I don't want to limit it to just that. So I'm saying they, in this video. So the Fool goes about their journey, um, and learns lessons, goes through trials, and learns more about themselves. In the card, you can see the Fool is about to jump off a cliff, if you will. It's metaphorical around a precipice of something new, a new beginning. And the white rose, typically, that symbolizes like purity. And obviously, you can see that the Fool has like a bag, so they're carrying their things with them. Traveling light also, and also then we've got the little dog, which represents loyalty. I also kind of think of it as, it comes to mind for me, it's like a familiar, or having sort of some like kind of buddy or companion with you, spirit guide, anything, any sort of comforting presence that you could take with you. So I thought we would kind of really focus on the Fool's Journey for the next several sessions, um, and kind of think about the energy of each card in the Fool's Journey and how you can embody that. The Fool represents new beginnings, fresh start, almost like innocence, like not being jaded, by the world, not being programmed by limiting beliefs or limiting templates. And I also think of the mindfulness concept of beginner's mind, of having an open mind without judgment. So having an open mind, fresh perspective, being able to be neutral and curious about things. So I'm kind of thinking that energy about the Fool's card, or the Fool card specifically, and the Fool's Journey. And then um, the Fool's Journey goes through all the major arcana cards. Like I've mentioned in a previous video, the major arcana cards are the like the main cards, where there's the Fool, there's the Magician, High Priestess, and those cards are really representing more like karmic lessons, bigger lessons, whereas the suites, which are the minor arcana cards, um, with the swords, the wands, cups, pentacles, and the court cards, those are all more about sort of the day-to-day. Also important, I kind of think of the as above, so below. Like the major arcana cards are almost like the as above, the bigger like spiritual lesson, and the so below is like the minor arcana lesson. So they're all connected, just manifesting in a different way. Um, so we're going to go through all of the major arcana cards and the Fool's Journey, and that'll be the beginning of this series. So a new beginning. So the question today is, how can I embody the qualities of the Fool card in my life? And that could be in any arena. That could be in work, in relationships, friendships, creativity, any sort of thing. So how can I embody the Fool energy in my life? And what I'm going to do is take this Fool card and put it back into the deck, so that the Fool can be part of this reading. Who knows, we might pull it. We'll see. So I'm just going to pull one card for now, and then we'll see if we want to add more as we go, depending on what we get. And just a reminder that this is a reading for the collective. It's not an individual reading. If you like an individual reading, you can book with me, either on my website or my Instagram. All right. connect here. I'm feeling called towards this card. It's not the Fool. We have the King of Swords. When I see the King of Swords, I often think of assertive communication, being clear in your communication, and thinking too. So swords represent the element of air and also correlate with thinking, with thoughts, how you see, like viewpoints, just like mental kind of activity, information. And the king, I think of as like a masculine energy, a doing action energy versus the feminine energy, not gendered, but it's more about receiving, flowing, and then the masculine is more about action, doing. So more about action with words and thoughts. So what's coming to mind for me, since we're talking about the Fool card and how can you embody the Fool card energy, the positive traits of the beginner's mind, the openness, innocence, curiosity, is in how you communicate, but also maybe in your thinking. It could also mean like how you're perceiving what other people are communicating to you. So can you have a beginner's mind, an open curiosity about what people are trying to tell you, communicate to you? Sometimes people don't always communicate their point well, especially, sometimes it can get polluted with tone or maybe some resentments or things like that maybe you're filtering through, and maybe that's filtering what they're communicating to you. Or sometimes people struggle to communicate because maybe they fall into more people pleasing or being passive or aggressive or passive aggressive, and then just there's a communication breakdown. So, and sometimes that can happen on both sides. Like one person isn't communicating well, or maybe the other person isn't filtering it clearly. It's being tinged with emotion, resentment. Maybe the person who's filtering the information is hungry, angry, lonely, tired, dysregulated, didn't sleep well. So more about this card now is coming to me is the idea of like checking your filter. So having a beginner's mind, open curiosity when you're filtering information, and also kind of checking, okay, how am I receiving that? Are there other factors that are contributing to how I'm receiving that? Maybe I'm hungry, maybe I need a snack, maybe I'm tired. So where could there be communication breakdown? Also, like thinking about your own ability to communicate. Are you closing your mind because you don't like someone? Like maybe you're not able to hear what they have to say because you just don't like them. And maybe they might be communicating something that's important or like actually good or makes sense, but you're filtering it in a way that you can't receive like the appropriate message. So checking the filter, and also being mindful that maybe someone else's filter is dirty too, is tinged in some way. So recapping the question, how can we embody the positive vibes of the positive energies of the Fool card, which include curiosity, open-mindedness, beginner's mind. It's thinking about communication on both sides. How are you filtering it? How are they filtering it? What other variables are impacting how things are being communicated, tone, things like that. And having an open mind about what you're receiving. Maybe giving someone the benefit of the doubt. Also, another note too is boundaries too, like setting boundaries. Sometimes you need to set boundaries. You can't just assume that someone's assuming that they know what you need, right? Or people can't read your mind and you can't read other people's mind. So having a clean slate versus making assumptions. Setting boundaries where they need to be set. That's just like a secondhand thought that's coming to mind. So yeah, just checking your filter, being mindful of other people's filter and how are you receiving an information, And that could lead to maybe more positive interactions, more neutral interactions, and improve communication and connection overall. So taking a beginner's mind, the full, like an open mind curiosity, to communication and connection and information in general. All right. So that is how we're incorporating the Fool's Journey into our readings. Next week, we'll explore the Magician, because that is what comes next in the Fool's Journey. So just a little teaser there. But because we still have a little bit of time, I wanted to pull a second card. I like I'd mentioned before, I like to pull the card underneath, just to see, like, as a little bonus kind of reading, a bonus card, and to see what it can reveal. So I'm gonna do that. What do we got? We got the Ten of Cups. So kind of thinking about the energy of the Ten of Cups and how you want to incorporate that into your life this week. The 10, if you can see in this picture, they're sort of like a happy family, kind of celebratory, and these 10 shiny cups. And 10 represents kind of the completion. It's the highest number, with the sweet cards. So it's completion. And whenever I see the cups, I often think about filling up your cup. You can't pour from an empty cup. So that is making me think, how can you fill your own cup? Maybe incorporating what we've talked about with the Fool energy of how can you bring that energy, that open-mindedness, that curiosity around your emotions, maybe your self-care. How are you filling your cup? Getting curious around that, how you're re-energizing yourself, maybe what patterns or assumptions you're falling into, maybe some routines, self-care routines, or things like that need a little reboot. Maybe your morning routine has gotten a little stale and boring. Maybe adding something else, like maybe some time outside. Hopefully it'll get cooler soon here in Austin, and so that could be more enjoyable. So kind of just, where can you fill your own cup? Where can you get curious and check in around filling your cup and your energy, and enriching your life? That's what's coming to mind for me as I see this card. I also see lots of vibrant colors. So once again, I'm using the Radiant Rider White color deck. So it's got lots of kind of bright primary colors. I'm seeing a lot of the blue, which represents like the higher chakras, like the throat chakra. So expression, maybe expressing yourself, expressing your emotions, and healthy outlets. Be that journaling or primal screaming into a pillow, or just expressing your feelings to a friend, therapist, but just throat chakra stuff, I guess, coming to mind with the blue. Yeah, so that is our reading for the week. Fool's Journey, focusing on the Fool. And I encourage you to think about that kind of Fool's Journey, that Fool energy, as you go through your week, having open-mindedness, beginner's mind, curiosity around how you're filtering things, how you're communicating things, how you're feeling, how you're thinking. So thank you so much for meeting me today for our weekly wellness check. I'll be back with you next week, and we'll be back with the Magician, going through the Fool's Journey and bringing that into the reading. And if you want an individual reading with me, please book with me at my website, or you can DM me on Instagram. I will see you all next week.